Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me today as we discuss the importance of building connections and relationships within the church. Something that I just want to go over in general is as the times change, so does the church. Therefore, it's incredibly important that the church understands and knows the community that it serves. As I mentioned earlier, as our society and our culture changes, the way we view church and the way people come to church and connect with the church changes as well. There are a few barriers that people have to connecting to the church that were never heard of, let's say, that our parents or that our grandparents had endured as they were growing up and as they were members of the church as well. It used to be that a person would attend a church because it was close to home, and most people lived in their homes for many, many years. Therefore, it was very easy to build relationships and make connections within the church. However, things have changed. Millennials move more than any generation before them. And one of the big reasons of this, according to CNN and Forbes, is because millennials job hop more than any other generation. Therefore, by the time a person turns 32, so just 10 years approximately after they finish college, they will have held more than 4 jobs. Now, to put this in perspective, these aren't just jobs that they're going, that are in the same area. These could be drastic life changes. They could be moving across the country or in very different cities within the same state. Therefore, it's really important that we take the time and effort to reach out to these people who are not only new to the church, but new to the community as well. Another thing that people may have trouble connecting to the church with is the fact that they don't feel like they have authentic relationships or that there's authenticity when welcoming a person to a new church. Millennials specifically don't want to come to a church just so that they can have people that they can sing songs with and listen to a sermon with. They want to be able to develop real lasting relationships with those who are around them. I wanted to use a hometown example for those of us in this room, since we all attend the same church, for Trinity Church here in Minot. Minot is a very small community, and people have very deep roots. Most likely the people who attend this church have attended it since they were young children, and their parents attended it, and their parents attended it. Therefore, the new people and the new visitors that we're going to be getting from the church most likely weren't born and raised here in Minot, but specifically, they're either here because of military orders, for oil work, or because they've come from around the state to come to college here at Minot State. Therefore, it's really important that we understand that people that we're connecting to this church aren't used to the terrible winters. They aren't used to farm lives and farm families, and they're probably not used to living in such a small town. Therefore, we need to keep this in mind to help them connect and build relationships with people in the church who have already established relationships with themselves for decades. So really, the question that we need to address and the problem that we're facing at our church and in the church, across the globe in general is how do we connect the constant inflow of guests and new visitors and new families to the church that has already been established in its relationships with one another? People will not stay in the church if they don't feel like they're connected to the church. People don't always come to a church just for the sermon or just for a PowerPoint or just for worship or music. People come because of other people and the relationships that they have with one another and the relationships that they have with God. How are we going to answer this call? How are we going to address this problem, you ask? It's through a connections ministry. This is a ministry that is specifically set up to meet the needs of each new visitor that comes in. Perhaps they're looking for a certain relationship or a certain ministry or a certain volunteer work to get connected with. Or maybe they're just trying to find a way that they can get a little piece of home in this new area. Therefore, in a connections ministry, we can work by setting up connection partners to specifically go out, find visitors, and make them feel welcome and help connect them to the church. Connection partners will have 3 major tasks that they'll be faced with. The first is to help visitors make friends. Perhaps a visitor is single and looking for other young single people that they can just go out and learn about them, develop relationships in this new town. Maybe they're a young couple looking to meet other young couples or to have mentorship with older couples in the church. Connections partners are there to help them connect with other families in the church and meet their specific needs. Connection partners are also here to develop authentic relationships with our visitors. They're here not just to find a name and a phone number so that we can get a hold of you in the church recall roster and make sure you didn't get run over by the last blizzard. They're here to make sure that you feel like you're a part of a family and that you can develop a relationship instantly with a connection partner who can then help you make other connections and other friends as well. And finally, the connection partner's job will be to remain in contact with the guest from the moment they arrive until they start making the connections, to listen and check up on them to see how the new visitor is doing. With this, each connection partner will help the guest come along on a connections process. This is a 5-step process that from the moment a person steps foot into the door at our church through the moment that they are connected and feel the person themselves feel like they're really connected to the church, the connection partner will help them through this process. The first initial contact is when a person comes to the church, they should be greeted by a connection partner. They should be able to identify someone new in the church so that they can welcome them, say hello, find out their name, and just sit next to them on their first Sunday where they probably don't know anyone and feel compelled to sit in the back alone. Next, we'll write a welcome note to this person. It can be either signed by the connection partner or by even the pastor himself, simply welcoming the person and making them feel known that it's recognized that this person attended church for the first time, and we're very glad that they chose us to come and visit. Following this, we'll give the person a phone call if we're able to collect their phone number, their email address on the first visit, just to find out about them, see how they're doing, how do they like the town, how did they enjoy the church service, and would they like to come back? Also, find something that they're looking for in a church. Do you want to get involved in the church? Are you looking for a children's ministry so that you can get your kids involved in Sunday school or maybe Awana clubs? Just finding out about this person so that they know we don't just care about numbers in the congregation and in the pews, but we care about them as a person themselves. Next, we'll send a letter of information. Simple things that people don't look for immediately upon coming to a church, but that would help them decide whether or not they want to stay. This could be about the church's mission statement, different ministries within the church, and ways to get involved in the church as well. Finally, an invitation to a small group is an awesome opportunity to help someone make new friends and get connected. It's easy to attend a church and feel like no one ever noticed that you were gone, but when you're a part of a small group, it's nice to come back the next Sunday and someone say, "Hey, we missed you. How are you doing?" Because we genuinely care. So what can you do? How can you help connect new people in the church? As many of us here are military and came into Minot not having any friends except those on base, what can you do to help someone feel welcome? Well, you can get involved. Get involved in the connections process. Be that person who recognizes a new face on the first day that they come to the church. Be that person who asks how someone's doing that you've seen a couple times but were apprehensive to approach and maybe get to know them. Be a part of the connection process by specifically being a connection partner and intentionally making those connections. Or just help by developing new relationships in the church. Even if you are not specifically a connections partner, go through and invite someone to dinner. Go out to coffee with someone. Make them truly feel welcome to the church because someone did that for us. I encourage you to help in this connections process and take this with you not just here in Minot, but as you move out to other churches throughout your assignments. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I hope that you will really feel compelled and really want to get involved by helping others feel connected and feel welcome to the church. Thank you.